There's.
Well,
That's just like you said.
Call the finance committee meeting to order. Karen, would you like to take the roll, please?
Mr. Bale,
Here.
Mr. Copeland,
Here.
Mr. Drexel,
Here.
Mr. Horton,
Here.
Mr. Showerman, Mr. Scatella,
Here.
Mr. Winarski.
Here. Doesn't look like we have anybody here for public comment. Is there anybody online that wanted to give public comment? Anyone that wanted public comment? And third time. Okay. We'll go ahead and jump into this, just so we're all on the same page. We had Boo and Jenny Haggerty that wanted to come and speak to us on their project, which isn't on the agenda, but it's gonna give them the time to talk to us and have us be able to ask questions. But first we'll jump into the audit. So we can get them in and out.
Hi, everyone. My name is George Josevich. I'm a principal at ZA. I have been in a review capacity. I've been involved with the audit now for the past handful of years. This is Carly Short. She is the manager of the day-to-day field work on the audit. Usually you guys are used to seeing Brian Crucial here. He's the partner. He can't be here this week, so Carly and I are filling in for him. So the 2024 audit was performed with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America, as well as government auditing standards. And the county received an unmodified opinion. That just means that that's the best opinion that could be received. And the financial statements are materially correct. And we have no audit findings to report. All right, so government-wide net position increased by 2.1 million. That's a 2% increase. That can be attributed mostly to the 2024 millage increase. In addition, the general fund balance increased by 3.8 million, also mostly due to the 2024 millage increase. The other thing I wanted to mention about the general fund is something called the budgetary cushion ratio. So this is thought to be one of the best indicators of financial health for a government, and it's basically calculated by dividing the unassigned portion of the fund balance by next year's budgeted expenditures. So the finance professionals say that about 10 to 15% is generally is good enough for growth and contingencies. The county's is 37%, and that's very strong, and so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. As far as new accounting standards, as required, the county did adopt the Governmental Accounting Standards Board number 100, which has to do with accounting changes and error corrections, as well as statement number 101, which has to do with compensated absences liability. However, these standards did not have any kind of significant effect on this year's financial report. So finally, I just wanted to briefly touch on the status of the county's single audit, which, by the way, is the audit of the county's major federal programs. So the programs being tested are Child Support Enforcement, the Community Development Block Grant, American Rescue Plan Act, foster care, and the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. So the testing is pretty much completed other than a few items just for foster care. But based on my review so far, as long as nothing comes up with the final items on foster care, the county will be receiving an unmodified opinion on compliance, internal control over compliance, and also the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So that's the 2024 audit. Questions, comments?
So, yeah, I had some time to review the audit. I also took the liberty to review the last 4 years as well, and just do a comparable, because I think while there are some important facts that this audit does show, I don't believe it's showing the full picture. The first thing I want to talk about is the net position. Now, net position, you can kind of think of that as like your net worth. As your net position is increasing, your net worth is increasing. However, that's not showing a full picture in terms of what those dollars are actually worth in liquidity. So basically, you're thinking your value of your dollar has increased. So the dollar has increased, your portfolio, your position is staying the same. So say we have $45 million sitting in a bank account. Your net position has increased 3 million. So now you're at 45, 46, $47 million. But in relation to what those dollars are covering is not the same. So say your net position increased $3 million, but your expenses are increasing by 5 or 6 or 7 every year. Your net position's increasing, but what those dollars actually cover doesn't go as far. So what I found is that your liquidity has dropped from 49% in 2022 to 42% as we approach 2025. So you're not as liquid as you would have been despite your net position or the dollars increasing. That's one of the things I really wanted to highlight. The other thing I noticed is that we have there's a finalized number which talks about the general fund balance and what we were actually spending. I remember that in this whole thing with the budgets, it talked about there was going to be about $3.8 million in fund balance that was supposed to be used from the general fund. That number actually was specific in being $4,100,000. So there's an additional $300,000 pooled from the general fund going into the 2025 that came as a result of this audit. So what we're really seeing is while there is the financial position is strong, you're not as liquid, and keeping this trajectory, your dollars are not going as far as they used to compared to the last several years of audits. So that's one of the major things I kind of want to highlight in this. Other trends that you're seeing is that that's not really super mentioned, is that 51.5% of the budget is coming from state and federal fundings, which means that the majority of our budget is really not our money. It is subject to policy from the state or the federal government, which could impact us significantly if those fundings were to disappear. We would not have that funding to really cover those expenses if a policy change were to ever shift. Another thing we're seeing is that the real estate taxes are really only covering about 16.8% of our budgetary needs. And as we know, we did not have a tax increase or mill increase going into this year. Again, we talked about the net position increasing, that can be attributed to the mill increase, but as I just mentioned, those dollars are not covering the same expenses as they used to. When you factor in inflation, we're actually worse off financially despite the increase in net position. I think that is the major thing I really want to hit home today, is that while it does look on paper that we're doing fine financially, I would not agree that's showing the whole picture when we take into account what our expenses actually are and how they're really eating us away.
I don't think none of us here sitting here really thought that would accurately reflect it. Sir, you're saying that there's still a few more I's to dot and T's to cross in regards to the departments that you performed the audit. Is with the American Rescue Plan, has that been completed? Or is that one still, because as you're well aware, well, I don't even want to open that up. I'm not gonna even do that to you. Because I don't suspect if Paul could answer it, I don't think that you either, so. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anything for anything else? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. You can't, before you move on, because we can't even accurately even ask questions about the ARP portion of it, while it's still being litigated and money's been moved all over the place. It hasn't been appropriated by this body. And so I just want to put a pin in that before we move on.
I very much agree with that. I was thinking about that, but I think a lot of the issues that I have over the ARPA's actions that were taken in 2025, which unfortunately might not be included in this. But
Well, I think before the 25, before you all came on there, that inaugural things was there was $2 million appropriated that got swept back into the general fund. And that $2 million was repeatedly, continually trying to be passed over to EMS. And so I think that I didn't want to be unfair to that, Jim. I'll just say it with a broad to like question.
All right, and again, like I was saying, we don't have this on our agenda. We have a minor share of the Hagerty family with us to speak on a project, if you guys have a floor, please.
I'm Jenny Haggerty.
And I'm Boo Haggerty, we're not married,
We are not.
no, we are in-laws.
First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to speak about our project and our partnership that we hope to accomplish through the endorsement of county council. A few of you were able to take some tours of some incredible properties within the last few weeks. The Washington School building that Boo Haggerty is taking the lead on. The Sacred Heart building that the Mercy Center for Women is taking the lead on. And the St. Paul revitalization project that Tim and Lisa Castro are taking the lead on. Collectively, the three projects would probably range from 3.5 million to 11.5 million.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive. I'm gonna put that out. But it's needed. And our projects will provide a future, a vision for our Erie community on how strategically we need to work together. Okay, to help those individuals who are not sheltered. To provide the social services around individuals who don't have social services because they do not have the transportation. They do not have the GED, they do not have the opportunity to have a career because perhaps they made a poor choice when they were younger in life and they carry that burden with them every single day. When you talk about art, I have to share with you that one of the most proudest accomplishments Mercy Center for Women did was through County Council allowing us a $250,000 grant to put the Mercy Anchor Community Center into place in a former Holy Rosary School building that was 39,000 square feet. We now house between 30 and 34 individuals with the wraparound services that they need. We graduated 6 individuals from GED. We feed over 1,000 neighbors through the Second Harvest satellite food bank. And we want to continue to do this work. So, of course, we're here because the Health Choices Fund provides money back to Erie County through Medicaid, unused Medicaid funding. And there's roughly $2.55 million sitting in there right now, untapped. And we have met with individuals such as Norman Boyd and Christy Martone, who run the DHS program for the state of Pennsylvania, that have stirred us promptly to, again, ask, invite council for your endorsement so we can continue to do the good work. Who's looking at, taking a probably 40,000 plus square school building and putting primary care and serving those individuals that continue to walk up and down Sassafras Street in need of help. And Charlie, you and I had that discussion the other night. So homelessness continues to matriculate our areas, and the brightness of Tim Castro in wanting to put a culinary art program into the St. Paul's area can generate jobs again and allow people to give back and feel good about themselves. So again, this is an ask, an invitation to partner with us and provide the opportunity for us to tap into that 2.55 million. And I know some council was not able to be there the last 2 Mondays, but we are both happy to answer any questions. Did I leave anything out?
No, you got it. The only thing I would add to what Jenny said is I want to thank the county and have county council really hear loud and clear that the project that our organization called Build Community Development Corporation has been working on at 21st and SAS is really under the umbrella of Infinite Erie. And part of the playbook that came out a couple of years ago to say that homelessness is an economic development crisis, but also a humanitarian crisis. So as we kind of put a project team together,
John DiMatteo and Lana Reese from Health and Human Services have been incredibly cooperative and very supportive of what we're talking about. And when these three buildings are accomplished, and we're kind of calling it the triangle, when these three buildings are accomplished, our building at 21st and Sass will have 22 apartments to house those who have been chronically unhoused, or chronically means over 12 months or longer. They've had no place to live. And as Jenny mentioned, all those wrapped services. Sacred Heart building can get as many as 20 apartments, and then the services that can be provided at St. Paul's really start to build what we think is an area in our community to serve those who have the greatest need, for sure. So our funding through our project continues to be built, and we feel very confident in that funding. We're very appreciative of the City of Erie Housing Authority and their work with SD Dennis, as we're gonna be able to pay for our project through project-based vouchers through HUD. So all of that continues to come together. Our capital stack continues to come together. I feel very confident our project can be off the ground by fall and have people in the beginning, the winter of 26, having these 22 new apartments ready to come online. But it's been great working with Jenny. It's been great working with Tim. And I have to say that Jenny's anchor building gave us the motivation to say, this is very doable. And anyone who hasn't been through the anchor building, you should see it. But that was our motivation to say, we can build apartments just like this in a different part of the community. So we're just really happy to be here today. But thanks to everyone in the county, including the county executive, who's been very supportive of this initiative as well. So we're more than happy to answer questions.
I don't have a question. I just, a couple interesting things that I think once you get the project going and it's gonna be explained to the community. I hate to call it a living space, but where these people would live. It's a lot more than a cot in a room with 20 other people or something like that. It's a home.
So
It's an
and
individual apartment.
individual
Where
apartments.
they can become self-sufficient, cook their own meals, have their own bathrooms, their own showers, have a place to rest their heads.
And the other thing, when we were gathering outside to wait for everybody, that gentleman that
Yes.
comes strolling up or
Don.
that sent us, and what turned out to be explained to us was what this gentleman was explaining to us as a group, his concerns and what he lacks and why he lacks it. It's something that this can, his questions would be answered.
And those are the unheard voices in our community, so we didn't pay him to come up at that time, all right? It just so happened that it was an opportunity for him to get some really good people around him, to surround him and hear what he faces each and every day.
And we're building that trust every day, Derek, to continue to have the folks who are gonna house trust the fact that this key is their key. And no one's taking it from them, and they're not gonna get kicked out. This is their home. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great point.
And this could be their home for 6 months, a year, 6 years.
So in the case of what we have in the Housing First model, it's for the rest of their life if they need it. The goal would be to help them move along and get their own place someday, but I mean, like buy their own home if we can get them rehabbed and get them in a place. Who we're gonna house in ours are probably the toughest of the tough. They have the greatest need in terms of the alcohol addiction, the drug addiction, the mental health issues, the physical health issues. But we believe with services provided to them every day at their doorstep, they can get to a point where they're in full recovery mode, working and maybe move to wherever they want to move to. However, we've seen this model in Cleveland where we met someone who'd been there 2 years, we met someone who'd been there 12. So, and that's the model we have. It's a permanent home, it's their home, as long as they can.
At the end,
No, no, I'm
and
sorry.
at the end of the day, although this initiative with the 3 different ones still isn't gonna be enough.
We believe it's
Housing
the
or-
proof of, we're continuing on this proof of concept.
And bringing housing providers together instead of us working in silos. And to know with Mercy Center for Women, what we just explained, I walk that journey every single day with these individuals, and it's not perfect. A lot of times people relapse. And now that we have more eyes on Erie and those individuals who deserve a journey of hope I think we're gonna be able to do more. I know we're gonna be able to do more.
We believe for HUD, in this case, Jim, this is gonna be a proof of concept. These project-based vouchers that come from HUD for those who are absolutely have no ability to pay a penny for this apartment. This is a fairly new model for the housing authority as well. So today, I'm meeting with Dusty and her team. We look at this as a proof of concept, and we can really demonstrate to the housing authority and their board, but then to the federal government, that this model works. And it's actually costs less to have them living here than it does in the services that John's team provides them on the street. I think we can demonstrate in a couple years' time that let's get 22 more vouchers and 22 after that, 22 after that. Our plan was to build 72 apartments to start on this, but we couldn't get 72 vouchers. So we're happy to start with 22 and we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, that's a good segue into what I was going to say, but first of all, I just want to say thank you. And no, I know that it's not a one hat fit all, but it's a very, very important part of this community. That's just the homeless population, but with our lack of quality, affordable housing, working, it's going to always remain a challenge. Thank you, first and foremost. And the segue I was referring to is the HUD, is the federal government and the sustainability moving forward. I mean, I know administrations change, but right now it looks like the social safety network is being ripped apart. and a lot of that's going to be shifted through to the states. And 51 to 50, whatever percent of our, it's all passed by the York County government. But personally, I because Infinite Erie was so inclusive with everyone in the county walking away from it, I'm excited about the opportunity that's happening. They still endorse it or support it. I said I would already, Cat. We're still as enthusiastic about it now as I was then. I'm glad that that's the one thing, or one of the things, the council, I hope the council administration can agree on. And lastly, I'll say, only because I know the wonderful work that Mercy Amber Center does. I just want to remind everyone that they received a grant of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission too. So the budget time almost comes around here. And this will be my last budget. I'm a strong proponent, believe that the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission should have an annual appropriation. This will be my last budget. I'll be asking that we still do something in that area. And I would pray that my replacement, we all that are sitting here and see value, continue with that going down that journey with the BIPOC community in the time. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah. One last thing I'd add, the first time that Lou and I met was at one of Tina's meetings. I think you were talking with Kate. I heard permanent supportive housing and housing first, wraparound services. First up, like, wait, what are we talking over here? And so I'm glad to see these plans come to fruition. Nothing else? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we have 3 old business items. First, number 2, ordinance number 34. First 2025 public safety fund budget appropriation, donation of a trailer and F-550. Do we have anything to add to the conversation in this one? Hold with that. Number 3, ordinance number 35. Supplemental appropriation $943,000, creation of new line item for renovations at Blasco. Let's forward with that. Number 4, ordinance number 36, approving the agreement between the county of Erie and Phoenix Graphics. We have a presentation this time. another.
No, but I think the other one that I previously gave is online, so you guys are welcome to read for that.
There it is, change. Will we expect to change?
We didn't have any updates or changes to that at all, did we?
We already took care of
We took care of all that, okay.
All right, jumping into new business, resolution for approval of redevelopment assistance capital program grant application. Cooperation agreement among the Erie County General Authority, Farmers Kitchen, Troy Growers, and County of Erie for the Farmers Kitchen Organics French Fry line. Ms. McGee.
Standard RAC operation agreement that comes with every RAC board. So the $7 million project in Huntersburg. The RAC is $3 million. Projects underway, should be completed very shortly. And yeah, it's a great project. It's good for that southern part of the county, and it's good for Erie, because they'll be selling these organic frozen French fries nationally. There's gonna be a couple other folks that do it, they're all off the west coast, so it's good. On the farm.
For sure.
Project.
For sure, they're already in Whiteman's.
Yeah,
It's a small.
ours are completely done, so but I didn't realize they were all leaving. Selling them, that's great.
These are easy ones.
They are easy.
Yeah.
I like them.
Well, just so everybody knows for myself, I'll be abstaining from this vote just because I have a business relationship with Troyer and a couple contractors that work on site. So I'll be abstaining from that. All right, before we get into parcel sales, Megan brought you this, you guys should each have a resolution printed out. Every year we need to approve the COGS budget and our contribution to that budget. Should have been, I guess, was expected to be on prior agendas and we had not yet approved this year. And I was being asked if we wanted to move this on sideways. I didn't see anything particularly onerous about it, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. Any concerns or thoughts about doing so?
No.
Hearing no objection, we'll move that onto the agenda for the next meeting. This meeting's going by a lot faster than I expected. Number 6, possible sale of a parcel. Repository. 6 and 7 are parcel repository sales. No issue with either of those. We'll move on to the analysis of the unassigned fund balance. Do we have the auditor to assign? Right?
Well, we got the CAFR's done and we're still working on the single audit, as George said tonight, so that should be done pretty soon. As you look, to that piece of paper that you have here, about $31 million of available spending money, if we sit with the 2 months holdback. Okay.
There's nothing else?
Yeah, I'd like to call the personnel meeting to order. First on the agenda, resolution number 2025, approval of social media policy for the departments of the county council. How are you?
This is a social media policy that's really outward facing to the public. So there's an understanding that there's no expectation of privacy. If somebody posts comments, that those would be maintained by the department. Obviously, this is basically for the department. It's not necessarily for council per se, but it's for our council department. So we can communicate with the public. It's not the official website, but it is another method that we can use for communication. So if there are public notices and announcements that we need to make, that we generally make either on the news, in the newspaper or on our website, we would continue to do that. This is not in place of anything. Just as a matter of convenience to try to help with communications. So we have things coming up in the elections, we can notify the public on Facebook, Instagram, whatever methods we choose to use for the social media. But basically, the policy is to let the public know what to expect from that as far as their responsibilities as people viewing or posting. And if people were to become vulgar or unruly in their comments, that those comments could be deleted. They're still archived for our purposes. But a person, you know, if they become, I guess, aggressive or use bad language, that they can ultimately be blocked from the page. But other than that, it's really free for people to,
Mainly more for information.
yeah. And for our departments, it's not to represent the views of the specific council people. It would be action from the body as a whole, if there's something that the body would want to have on there. And it would be limited to just one person posting. So in our case, for the county council offices and elections, that would be me. And I wanted to submit content to be posted, that they could do that, but this way it remains very neutral. Nothing's political, it's just communication.
So,
What is the cost?
What does it cost? Social media itself doesn't cost anything. The policy is just written to protect everybody's understanding of what the intention is of the social media. And we do have, social media archiving from our Civic Plus group that we work with for our civic clerk. And for our right to know request, we use this company called Civic for those, and they have an archiving opportunity that they would archive all the history of our posts, any comments, likes, reactions, things like that.
What is that?
And I think that's about $7,000.
And so, county council people, though, would not be able to post any content on that, right? And it's not, and it wouldn't be appropriate for them to do that, is that right?
Right, this would just be for department use, and certainly if council people had items that they would like to have presented to the public that concerns the whole body, that would be submitted to me, and then I would look and make sure that's a neutral thing to post and move forward with that. So it's just this.
yeah, like there's an event or something in my district that
Right.
they're having open house at Mercyhurst College or something, or Mercyhurst University. Anybody wants, it's free to the public, come to that kind of. That,
Something like that, something just posting when our council meetings are, if they're. You know, I think the big thing is elections, the deadlines, when the last day to register, there's something that we need to communicate with the public, this gives us an opportunity for that. We can post links to our meetings, we can do events and list those, the meeting times on there.
and how do you get to this post or this media post or whatever it is? Instead of,
The policy.
no, I mean, I don't have Facebook, so how do I, as that regular citizen, get on here? Do I go to the government page and?
You would go on the main face or on the main website for the county. When you click on county council, that'll take everyone to our websites. And at that point, we can have the media links on that page, so people would be able to click directly from our regular website to go to a social media site. Also, if you could search Facebook or Instagram and just look, it's your Erie County Council, or Erie County Elections Office, and at some point it should be generating those responses.
Mr. Chair, so if any members of county council wanted to post content specific to a particular ordinance or resolution, they could either go to you and say, "Good, let's post this." If they wanted to do it themselves, they cannot, because they don't have the.
It wouldn't be an administrative.
However, if. Certainly, if county council members wanted to do that and have their own.
capacity to go on, they could do that, right? But they would have to
Sure.
buy in themselves.
There are some council people who have pages, either personal pages, council pages, elected official pages, so that's something that anybody would even opposed to would have.
I think one of the things that's really interesting about this, before you talk about the software. Having the ability to archive. It made me think a little deeper about the requirements for document retention. For instance, when 9 years of the social media posts from the county got removed. But it made me wonder about my requirements as an elected official, if I run an official elected page. Do I have requirements to retain? I never deleted them, I think, right, but some sort of requirements to retain. And can the same software be used to retain posts for elected official pages? Is that possible, or is it? How is that?
And it technically it's a possibility, but that's a discussion that you have.
I think if it's on your private, your personal page or your private page, it's electronic, and once it's out there, it's out there. Anyway, it's retained somewhere. You may not be able to pull it up for access, but why would you want to? And if it's something that you wanted to archive, couldn't you do that from your own page?
No, I just saying, if we have a requirement as elected officials to have document retention. Yeah.
I don't know, not on my page, not on my elected official page, I don't.
People are screenshotting and archiving it for it.
Yeah, just like believe. Yeah, tell them to-
It's files, it's archived. Third is if I need to respond to a right to know request for those document protected records, how can I produce those documents? That, I'm more concerned about being responsive to people requesting those records.
That's the trap, is like when you erase all that stuff off of there and you start blocking it, well, you don't know at what point when you took that screenshot.
Yeah, but
And it files right to no request, so we can't provide that information anymore because it's not there. And now you're in a pickle with, you know.
If you start getting the AI generated stuff that's you, it ain't you. You archive
Everything you
that
see
shit.
about me is AI. We're just gonna start that. It's all not real. That's scary. The AI stuff is scary.
Ready to move on?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Number 2, possible appointment of Marcus A. Jacobs to the Erie County Planning Commission. Term to expire December 31st, 2028. Forward by myself. Known Marcus for probably a year and a half now, and resumes on file here. He's in my district. Good young blood that has somebody that I think would be beneficial.
Look at you trying to rush through a personnel need. I'm proud of your son.
Isn't it grandkids night? Isn't it grandkids?
Yes, it is.
Number 3, possible appointment of Bobby Cherry to the Erie County Human Relations Commission Advisory Board, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Brought forward by Mr. Copeland. Comments? Anything for the good of the order?
Got that final fix.
Call for adjournment.
She's worried to have.